Hi there, Kris Krohn with REI TV. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, which is how do you retire early? All right, you're joining me in Venice. Just kidding, it's a tapestry. That's just a wall. This is in my house. I want to talk about society's game plan that they've laid out for us. Because in general, we have a society that says get good grades. If you get good grades, you can go to college, graduate college, take that piece of paper that says you're smart and go get a job. Work for somebody else for 30, 40 years, throw money in a 401k IRA. And here's my question for you. What are the net results of that game plan for the average American? If you wanted to retire early, how would you do it?
Just make sure I have enough money.
I think that the sooner you start putting things into a retirement fund, the better. Because I know both my parents right now are struggling with being able to retire. My dad is 61 and they don't have much into retirement right now.
Well, I'll tell you right now that our government posts statistics from the Social Security Board that say that the majority of us at age 65 at retirement have very little. In fact, the average American saves about $55,000 versus what they actually need to support a retirement where their same standard of living that they've been used to can at least still be there versus getting reduced in half or down to a third or even less. If we really want to get to the bottom of how to retire early, we have to understand how wealth is created, where it is created, and there's a study that was recently done by Oxfam International. I want to share with you just a few of the statistics. They say that 85% of the people on Earth have as much money as the bottom half of the world's population. Oh my gosh, think about that for a minute. The richest 1% has amassed about 46% of the world's wealth, which is about $110 trillion. The top 1% has 65 times the total wealth of the bottom half of the world's population. The percentage of income gap by the richest 1% in the US has grown nearly 150% over the last 30 years. The top 1%, this is big, of wage-earning households in the US brings in about $1.2 million per year. That's 41 times as much as the average income for all wage earners who bring in our country, about $40,000 per year. So why do I share all that with you? It's because the world's wealthiest, they have something in common. And I promise you, it's not go to college, get good grades, work for somebody else, make them money, retire poor, and die. So speaking about early retirement, I retired when I was 26 years old through real estate, and that was just a year out of graduating college. How it happened is kind of weird for me because I went to college because I wanted to be a doctor, and at some point in my sophomore year, I got sick and tired of my advisors telling me that I was too dumb to become a doctor or should stop trying to retake the class, so I kind of gave up on that dream. But with the help of my first 3 mentors in real estate, man, I was reading books, gobbling up everything that I could. I'd spend my weekends and evenings driving around with them. And with their help, they wrote me up a game plan. And 14 months later, I bought my first house. Now, that first house was no ordinary house. It was bought $40,000 below the market. It was bought with a basement apartment that once I moved in and rented out would cover my entire mortgage. And 12 months later, the bank said, wow, Kris has lived there long enough. It is seasoned. So I was able to take some of that $40,000 equity and I was able to move it into a second property. My second property became my third, my fourth, and it just kind of kept on growing. And if you watch some of the other videos that we post here, I talk about partnering and some of the other strategies. But basically, I had about 25 properties by the time I turned 26. My portfolio was doubling each and every year. And now I own a lot of paid off real estate. I have leveraged real estate. And what they all share in common for the most part is a lot of equity and a lot of cash flow. And it's that residual income that makes retirement possible for me versus some 401k IRA trading dollars for hours, having some kind of good or poor paying job. Real estate's created that freedom for me. Here's the cool thing about real estate. It can compound. Now, I'm not talking about your traditional 30-year strategy. Buy a house, put in a renter, and be on a 30-year mortgage or maybe an accelerated mortgage, and in 15, 20, 30 years, the house is finally paid off. I don't like that strategy, one, because I don't like 30-year game plans, because if things slow down, all of a sudden I miss my chance at retirement when I'm actually hitting that retirement age, or maybe you haven't started young enough. So 30 years, not my favorite. There's some other reasons. But what I like to do in real estate is I like to compound it. I don't buy and hold. I buy and trade. This is like Monopoly. I'm constantly trading. If I buy a house right, then within a few short years, I should be able to trade it for more real estate and trade that real estate for more real estate. and then on and on and on. So using this strategy and this system and this thinking, here's what I love about real estate. If I do it correctly, I can take that one home and I can turn it into two, because I buy it with equity, I buy it with cash flow, and there's always a plan. I'm never buying haphazard real estate, and I'm never buying a home with the stupid 30-year plan saying, hey, I'm just going to keep on paying this down and let someone else pay the mortgage off. Meanwhile, I get 5, 6, 7 years and I start getting the depreciating declines on my returns, and the diminishing returns equal, I got to dump $10,000, $20,000 back in that house. Anyway, don't like the 30-year plan. Little side bonus there for you. But if I can buy that one house correctly with that equity like I did on my first house, I'm now going to take that equity, let it season, take 6 to 12 months. I'm going to turn that into my second house. Now, if it worked one time, this is the power of one. Then why not 2? Why not 5? Why not 10? Well, my intention with those 2 homes is to what? Turn them into 4 homes, because cash flow on 4 homes is way more tasty than cash flow on 1. And if I can take 4 homes and turn them into 10 and 10 into 20, and ultimately, what do I do at retirement? I'm going to sell off all these leveraged properties, 1031 exchange to avoid taxes, and I'm going to roll them all into a pile of paid off homes, paying for me a retirement that I can control. And when I say at an early age, it's because I believe that most people, depending on where you're starting, can actually retire inside of a 5 or a 10-year period of time, given the right plan. So in comparison, yes, real estate can give you more equity, more cash flow, more tax advantage, more. But here's how we are ultimately different than the stock market. In the stock market, like we said, you've got to be worth well over $1 million if you want to have a very basic retirement without touching the principal and just living off the interest. In real estate, who cares what your net worth is? Who cares what you're worth? That's not what you're focusing on. What you're focusing on is the what? That's right. It's the cash flow. It's the residual income. It's like, yeah, maybe I am worth $500,000. Maybe I'm worth $3 million. Frankly, do I have enough money residually that just rolls in from my real estate that covers all my expenses? And here's what I find. I find that what you can do in 30, 40, 50, 60 years in the stock market is achievable inside of 10 years with real estate. Real estate done right can not only produce all these amazing advantages, but it can be a huge accelerator, which is, in my opinion, what most people in this country need. With that, thank you so much for watching our video today. I encourage you to subscribe so you can keep getting these free educational videos. And then at the bottom, check out the post where you can learn about how you can actually access a free audio copy of The Straight Path to Real Estate Wealth, my book, for free.